Alright, I added a little bit of graphical enhancements. So I made this HDR image in Blender, and that cube is my little stand-in asteroid. Let me restart that just to show. This is what we're going to get through in this one. It's going to detect collisions and die. I made the bullets. I've set up an environment so that the bullets will actually glow. They look more like lasers, and it's got this environment texture and it's sunlight now. So the environment texture I made in Blender. Let me switch this really quick so that it's easier to render. Let's see. That's what that looks like. I just used a bunch of noise nodes for the world shader, and I followed a couple of tutorials here. I followed this one to get like the general starfield. I'll put these links in the description. And then I followed another one to render it out. And then some of the comments on this video helped figure out better settings for the camera. So to actually render this out, I'm going to set this back to cycles. In order to render a 360 degree HDR image, you have to use cycles, because the camera settings, you'll go panoramic and set it to equirectangular, and that will get the whole 360 degrees. And this equirectangular option only exists in cycles. I don't have any other objects in here because it's just the world shader. And then in the output properties, you just set the X and Y so that it's twice as wide. You set the aspect ratio correctly. Then you hit F12, or you set this to HDR in the file format. Press F12 and there you go. Let's see what it looks like. Give it a little preview. There. I had this other one, and I don't know, maybe somebody can tell me. It uses volumetric clouds and everything, and I thought this was really cool, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to get cycles to render this volume the way Eevee does. And Eevee, obviously, I can't set the camera. Let me grab my camera. I don't have anything to set my panorama to do a full 360 degrees in Eevee, so I would love to use this one, but I cannot figure out how to make cycles render the volume the same way. It just basically just spits out straight up solid green. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, so I'll post these tutorials in the description so you can make your own. Then I just set up a world environment, and I'll go through this step by step in a second. Where you go, I can't find it. Background, panorama sky, you load in the HDR image, and there you go. Drop in a sun. So let me get my actual project loaded up. This is the one we left off on. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my little HDR image. Drop it into this one. And now we got the HDR. I'm going to make the environment node, world environment, new environment. Click that. Background, clear color. I'm going to go sky, panorama. Click that one, panorama, load, starfield HDR. And then you can see it doesn't really do a good job. It's a dark image, so it doesn't light up the ship very well. And for that reason, I go into ambient light, set the energy to something ridiculous, just to lighten it up. And then I'll drop in directional light for the sun. Here we go. Make it kind of come down from the top left, and set shadows on. Here we go. And then to make the bullets light up, Go into actors, bullet, scene. On the mesh instance, I have the material with the emission on and the energy. I'm going to set this up to like 5 or something, 4, 6, 5, something. It doesn't show up on this one because my default world environment doesn't have anything enabled. But the emissive material in there, if I go back to my world environment, I could turn on glow and turn it to additive. Let me drop in a bullet. Yeah, that's really bright. Strength, I can lower the intensity here. Or, I actually like the amount of glow there. I just want to turn down how much this material is emitting. So maybe 2, save that. That's a little bit better. I'll go 3. There we go. Alright, so now we got some shiny bullets and a space background. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the, let me get this out of here. Get out! Make a stand-in asteroid real quick. So we can go actors, new scene, asteroid. It's going to be a rigid body to be affected by physics. I turned off gravity, right? Yeah, I turned off gravity. Did I make my layers? I did. Okay, so this is going to be an asteroid. It is not a player. And it is going to check for collisions with players, bullets, and other asteroids. And give this a stand-in mesh real quick. Mesh. Just make a cube for now. And then I need a collision shape. Make a cube shape. Box. There we go. So now if I just drop the asteroid in here. See what happens. I can shoot it, but it doesn't do anything, so I need to set up a script on here so that I can connect this body entered event and do stuff. Namely, get destroyed. So it's going to take the body that it collides with. Right now I'm just going to do print body.toString and then die. And then I'm going to change this name to asteroid. And the node body entered, connect that to asteroid on asteroid body entered. And I had to, like I said last episode, I had to type this manually. Pretty sure that's spelled right. Save, and let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Okay, so in this thing, let me go down to rigid body. Actually, it's going to be under physics, I think. I don't remember which one. Let me find out. No, it's under rigid body. So rigid body signals body entered. Requires contact monitor to be set to true and contacts reported to be set high enough to count all the collisions. All right. Contact monitor on and contacts reported. Let me just set this to. Let's assume there's a bunch of asteroids bouncing around. I don't need them to know about each other, but I do need to know if they hit bullets and if they hit the player. So let's say they can get hit by a few bullets at a time in the player, so 5 should be enough. So if they get collided with, I think this is like per frame, so if 5 bodies hit it all at the same time on the same frame, then they all get counted. But if 6 get collided with it, that doesn't report the 6th one. But now that it's counting and monitoring for contacts, then that on body entered method should fire. And it should print the body that hit it and then kill itself. There we go, kinematic body. Alright, so now we're up to speed with where I was on my test project. So I'm going to try to wing some further behavior here. What I first want to do is make these spawn out somewhere. So let me get rid of that. I'm going to make a spatial. Actually, I'm probably going to want a whole nother scene. Or I can just set the script on the root. Yeah. So I'm going to just take like a radius around and just spawn asteroids and give them an impulse towards the origin. So first thing I want to do is establish a radius. Yeah. So it's going to be a random around, let's say, export radius. Let's say 50 meters out. Actually, no. Randef is going to give a normalized value, and then I want to dot normalized times radius. There we go. So that'll give me a random spot along 50 meters out. And then, since that comes from the origin, in order to direct my object into the origin, I can just give the impulse in negative pose. So then I want on readyvar asteroid packed scene equals load. I'm just going to do this actors asteroid tscn. That should work. Let's find out in a second. So then var asteroid. Oops. Dot instance. Yeah. And then I need to add this to the world. Get tree.rip.add child asteroid. And then asteroid, since it's a rigid body, I can go ahead and say add impulse. This is going to do every frame. I don't want that. I'm going to have to change this to a timer signal. Add impulse from pose to negative position. And that's relative to the kinematic body. So why don't I just do this? That's going to be relative to the body itself. And then this is going to be minus pose that normalized times export float. This is going to be how strongly they get impulsed towards the origin. So force equals, I don't know, let's say 15. I want to go down here times force. Actually, what I want to do is two thresholds. So anywhere between 5 and 15. I need to get a random. That's between 0 and 1 times force. Actually, it'll be the difference between the force and the minimum. Plus the minimum. Here we go. And that's actually apply. Apply impulse. Oops. put that there, and then also position it. Asteroid transform global position equals cost. There we go. And then I wanted to change this to a signal on timer timeout. There. So let's see if that worked. Method failed. What does it want? Parse error on line 14. 14 at, what does it want? Expected comma or parenthesis. Oh, I didn't. There we go. Method failed. Alright, parse error. The assigned value doesn't have a set type. Line 10. What do you mean? Oh, vector 3. I mean, it should be obvious. Method failed again. Still line 10. Assigned value doesn't have a set type. The variable type can't be inferred. How can it not be inferred? I'm telling you it's vector 3. Dot normalized times radius. It's a float. I tell you right there. There. That'll work. I don't understand why it's not letting me give you a vector 3. It doesn't want me to strongly type that for some reason. I mean, maybe it's just because this whole expression involves multiplication by float, but I don't think that should matter, because multiplication returns a vector 3. Oh well. I'm going to strongly type that just to see what happens. That still works. On timer timeout, I need a timer. Let's see. Timer, beep, create. Connect. Now I need to set this thing. Spectre auto start, and it'll do it every second. See what happens. Oh, something broke. Global position. Cannot set global position. Well, I better go look at spatial. I was getting that on the transform. It might just be on the spatial. Spatial. There we go. Actually, it's a node, right? Yeah, asteroid. Dot transform. So asteroid's a node. I need to look at node. Because it inherits spatial. That's where it gets a transform. Oh, so I don't need to do dot transform. Do I? Oh, I do. Or dot translation. Local translation of this node. Let's see if that works. Dot translation. There we go. What are you doing? What is that? Oh, that's broken. Stop. Go. 1001. Oh, it's doing stuff. Oh, there they come. Ah, here they go. Now they're hitting me. Neat. Now I have things to shoot. Ooh, I don't have enough directional specificness. Let me turn my controller on. How? That thing wasn't destroying itself. Oh. See, they run into each other and they still get destroyed. So I need to detect what type of thing is actually colliding with it, and then only destroy it if it's not a laser beam. Nice. Actually, the first thing I want to do is not have this en route, because this is going to be, it extends spatial anyway, so I can just take this and pop it onto a different spatial entirely and make that a spawner. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do new scene spawner. 3D scene, there, spatial spawner. That way I can, oops, I don't want a new script. I can load, nope, cancel. Let me just go down and grab main GD and put that on here. Beep, there we go. And then I need a timer. Timer. Timeout. And that's already hooked up to that. And see, now I have radius on here. I can get rid of that. Go to my main, get rid of this script here. Detach script. Kill timer. Actually, you know what I want to do is get the timer out of spawner. Let me go back in here. Delete. Because I don't think I'd be able to edit that on the fly through the inspector. So instead of on timer timeout, I'm going to say how about something weird like asteroid. There, and then I'll just have another timer in the theme that connects to it. So then I can drop in spawner here. I should also, I actually figured out that I was reading the error wrong. So if I specify the type, then it works. And then I should also add my translation. Because this is a spatial, and it has a translation node on it. So now the ring will be in relation to wherever the spatial is. Let me make sure the transformed out translation is centered. And I'm going to shrink this to like 15 just to demonstrate. I want to figure out if there's like a slider I can do instead of 2 floats. And then I want to raise the camera up to see more. Click. Click. And I forgot to hook up the signal or make a timer at all. Timer. There we go. See, now that this is actually in the world scene, I can just control this however I want. And connect that to spawner. And I think I did that wrong. Let me change that. Edit. Generate, what is it? Generate? Make asteroid. Make asteroid. Oops. Take off the parentheses. Connect. What do you want? Please confirm. Cancel. The following files are newer on disk. Nothing's listed. Reload. Okay. Huh. Never used to ask me that. I'm actually going to go ahead and close that. I'm gonna rename this. And close that. Not just hide it. Rename. Nope, not open. Rename. Rename. Spawner. And then drop it into actors. Now if I edit the scene, it still has. Yep. Okay. Alright, let's see if that works. Yay! And now, grab my controller again. Now the thing is, nothing is going to destroy these asteroids. You know, they're only popping out on the southeastern quadrant, so something's going wrong. I think I know what it is. I'm only using positive values. So let me pop open this. So randef, yeah, these both need to be minus 0.5. Yeah. There. Now the radius will be smaller too. No, it won't. Okay. Nice. Bump up the radius a little bit. 20. Bump up the force. And then on the timer, I want to decrease the time a little bit just to make a metric fuck ton. Alright. They're actually just going to keep bumping into each other, which isn't what I want, but looks cool, and it prevents a bunch of lag by keeping these from just being forever. So I'm just going to play this off screen for like 3 hours. And then something else I just realized is I don't even need this to be a scene. It's just a spatial. I can just have that. So let me get rid of that, actually. Let me get rid of these. And then I don't even want a spawner tscn delete file. Remove. I can just have the script, and then I'm going to make another folder for just scripts. New folder. And I'm going to shove spawner into scripts. And why don't I just take all of these, whoops, control click and just shove them all into scripts. There we go. And then I can remake. I'm just going to add a straight up spatial. Name it spawner. Grab spawner GD, shove it on there. Radius like 30, force 25. And then that, of course, needs a timer. The reason I'm doing it this way instead of making a scene with the timer on it already is because I want to be able to control the spawning from just the world. Now I can have multiple ones and I don't have to put anything in the script to be able to control that. And I don't know how this got in there, but it did. Somehow I'll have to figure out how that works. Because I'd like it to pop up automatically every time, but it doesn't. Timer, node, connect it to spawner, make asteroid. Pops up, close that, and make sure this is looping, auto start, say 0.2. There, make sure that that's in them. Yeah, 0. Actually, I want to make sure that it's localized. So I'm going to move it over here and reduce the radius to 10. Yep. Okay. They're all shooting towards the center, though, which I don't necessarily want. I think I would rather have them go towards the spawner. So let me fix that. So apply impulse. This is getting long and ugly though, so I'm just going to type, make a new variable. And what I need to do is actually take the transform of this spatial, whoops, and so that's that, and subtract the position of this asteroid from it, and then normalize that, and then multiply that by the force. What do you mean method failed? Oh, that's right, not transform. Translation. now they're going towards the middle. I was thinking I was gonna go ahead and make the little lasers delete themselves upon contact, but now I think that it'd be kind of cool if I could just have them bounce off of things and ricochet and damage a ton of things. I might make that a power-up, I don't know. It'd be an interesting idea. And then the other thing I was thinking, let me set this back in the middle again. There. Was that I want to have a bigger field of motion. So like I want to be able to go for long distances across this starfield. Let me actually get rid of this. Oops. I want to make this asteroid stop printing things. But as far as the background goes, what I found out is that under the environment background, there's a sky rotation degrees. Watch this. You can make the sky move. So if I actually use this, yeah, whatever. If I actually rotate the sky as I'm moving around, then I can give a sort of parallax effect. That's sky rotation degrees. And under the environment type, it has, where is it? Background sky orientation basis. And basis has, let's see. Well, I know it has this in the C++ version. Yeah, I can make a basis out of a vector and a rotation. What I actually want, though... Oh, here it is, rotated. So you give it an axis and an amount to rotate by. So what I would do is take my movement vector, which is just down here, and then I would get something perpendicular to that to use as my basis rotation axis, and then I would make the magnitude of this thing be the amount that I spin it by. Right, so let me grab a reference to the environment. Export node path bar. And then already bar. And get node. I think that's what I want. So then I would need the delta. And dot. What was it? I was gonna do, yeah, dot rotated. But first I need to remind myself. Background sky rotation. No, background sky orientation. That's a basis. And background sky orientation dot rotated. So movement, I'm going to cross the movement because the movement vector is going to be planar with the x and z plane, and then I need something perpendicular to that also on the xz plane. So if I cross my movement vector with my y basis, that will give me a perpendicular vector. I think that automatically gives me a length. Actually, I'm going to do, move. Move that length squared times delta. And I want to check to see if that is actually, if it's beyond the dead zone, then I want to do it. So let's just see what happens. I need to set that path. Env node, assign, click on world environment. Okay, that should work. Nope. Background sky orientation. Valid get index. Does it not have a getter? Yeah, it does have a getter. Oh, am I not allowed? I might have to do get. I might not be able to access that. I didn't think there were private fields. Yeah, I should just be able to directly access it. Background sky orientation. Invalid get index background sky orientation. Did I spell it wrong? I'm going to copy this. Nope, it's the same. So I might not be allowed to reference it, or let's see if that works. I need to stop the game. Stop. Play. Background sky. Nope. On base world environment. Invalid get index. Sky. Well, it should be. Because this is on, this environment. Oh. What is the world environment? Is that a different node? Default environment properties, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I might have done the wrong type. Oh, debugging. Stop. Nope. Cannot convert node to environment. What is that? Oh, invalid. So it is world environment. Well, now I have to look at something. Is there an actual world environment? Yeah, there is. Okay. Properties. Properties, environment. Okay, so world environment dot environment dot. Okay, that's what it was. Environment dot background sky rotation. Okay. There. And it does absolutely nothing. Let me multiply this by something huge. So times 1,000. Times, no. Well, this is in radians, so times 10 should be enough. It doesn't do anything. This might not do what I want. Background sky orientation. Moved up length squared. I mean, it's already length. It's already squaring my length. How about I just do like, I'll put 1. Just an absolute value. It's not doing nothing. I figured it out. So first of all, what I want to do is change this. Dig to rad, move that length times delta. And I think times 10. I actually have to, set this thing. And then this little backslash here is so that I can have this on a second line. Because otherwise it wouldn't work. Oops. And then I figured out that I'm putting all of this under my dead zone condition where I zero out my vectors. So I need to completely move this to another if, where I'm checking if move.length squared is greater than 0. And then I'm also crossing the wrong vectors. I need to do transform.basis.y cross move.normalized. And that should work. Woo! Now it looks like the camera is actually tilting. So I'm actually going to get rid of this spawner for just now. Auto start, turn that off. Or just turn off the spawner. I'm going to place some placeholder objects just to demonstrate a point. I need a mesh instance. And it's going to be a cylinder. Let me just duplicate some of these just to give some reference points. And watch this. They all move with me because it looks like the camera's tilting a little bit to keep my ship in shot. But what's happening is that the world is moving behind me because my plan is to actually just parent the camera to the ship. And that way, as I move, I can go further than just the resolution here. I can go off screen and have the camera follow me while using this parallax effect by rotating the world environment. So let me get rid of these meshes. And if I just go ahead and parent the camera, then it's going to copy the orientation, which I don't want. So I need to set up a separate node. And I went down there. Let me get that where I can see it. I am going to set up child spatial called camera target. Set that up where the camera is right now. It's like there. And I'm just going to have the camera match the position of this and not the rotation. So now when I move my ship, you can see the bounding box includes this spatial up there. When that moves around, the spatial moves with it. And now this camera, I'm going to add a script on. Let me save and close everything. So when I add a script, it opens my editor back up. I'm going to go export node path var target node var target equals get node target node as spatial and process. I'm going to try to lerp. So I want to translation equals lerp translation. And the destination is target.translation. Oh, factor. Export lerp var snap factor equals 0.2. There. And then I need to hook that node up in here. Target node. Camera target. There we go. And when I move, and it doesn't work at all. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? I don't get any errors, do I? What's the debugger say? Error. Argument body is never used in the function of blah blah blah. Am I doing what I think this is doing? Alright, hold on, I gotta check out lerp. Lerp. global scope. No. Hell. GD script methods. It should just be lerp. Lerp. Yeah. From 2, okay. If both are the same type, vector 3, the return value will be of the same type. Oh, well, I might as well just... I'm going to try it differently. Translation equals translation dot linear interpolation. Is it interpolation or interpolate? Interpolate with target translation snap factor. I think that's what's being called under the hood anyway, but it's not wanting to work. Why are you not working? Now I've got another thing to figure out. Ooh, my target node, it should be set up, right? I'm just going to delete these. What's wrong with you, damn it? I found it. It's the local translation of this node. So what I was getting with translation is the camera target position in relation to the ship, not in relation to the world. So I need to change that to global transform.origin. And now it should work. I want to make that a little bit more of an eased thingy. So we'll do 0.05. There we go. That kind of looks a little weird. So maybe I should make the rotation of the environment texture with relation to the camera's movement and not the ship. How would I even get that? Well, I have the look right here, so I can do. Oh, I know. Do pause. Actually, I don't need this. And then the difference. And this is like my movement. So now, oops. If I go into my ship and I steal this, I'm not going to need a reference to the thing again. Paste. Now, diff.length squared. I'm going to have to go steal those node path things. There we go. So now I'm going to attach the node path to the environment in my camera instead of in my player. And move is going to be diff length squared times 10 times delta. Alright, now I need to set these nodes up. Method failed. Parse error, ship 34, expect an indent block after if 34. Oh, there we go. Clear. Okay, that should be working. So now I just need to set up the node path. Target node. That's oh well, it didn't get the. 11. Sign value doesn't have a set type. Why are you making me specify all these vectors? I guess Lerp doesn't really know necessarily. Nope. Move isn't defined at 16. Camera GD 16. What am I doing? Move. Oh, diff. There we go. Transform.basis.y. I'm actually going to want to erase this because the camera's transform basis y. I select the camera and I go to local space. I rotated this. Am I in local space? Now I'm in local space. This is the y. And I don't want to use that. I want to use z. Basis.y. Let's just use z. Okay, this should work. And I forgot to set up the link to the environment node. And world environment. There we go. And it goes the wrong way. Why is it doing that? I'm getting the difference. Oh, translation, that's local. So this is, what is this? I should change this to global transform dot origin. And then, am I actually moving? I don't think I'm moving. I'm not actually moving. That might have been the problem. Yeah, because I was always going to a new position, but I was not moving towards it. So that might have been. I actually think there's a dedicated function for moving. Am I in spatial? Yes. Method, I think if I just translate, yeah, translate offset. And the offset is diff. There. That should. Whee! That's not what I want. That's the opposite of what I want. So I think I need to switch these up. Oops. And yeah, so B minus A. Well, that doesn't really work at all. What's going on? I better just, oops. Global transform dot origin equals new cause. There. There we go. Okay. The world moves a lot slower now. Magic numbers. It's not really noticeable. I'm gonna try 1,000. Yeah. Yeah, that seems kind of more like the actual ship is just moving and then the camera's kind of catching up to it. But that's a little bit much. I kind of want it to be more subtle, so let me back it down to 10. Because I'm going to put other things in the world that are going to give a better indication. I better export a float. Oh, yeah, now I can edit that in the inspector and change it. So let me put some debris down again and get a better feel for. No, it's not Blender. I need to add more meshes. Shouldn't have deleted those. Capsules. What is that? Oh, that's the starfield. I'm just gonna make a bunch of these guys. Just to kind of give myself an idea of what moving through space with obstacles in there is going to be like. These are all stationary. Get this cursor. Get the cursor out. But play the game. Make this full screen. Full screen! There we go. That's pretty cool. And now, once I put back in my spawners and I make actual asteroid meshes, this game's gonna look pretty freaking sweet. Alright, so, to work.